God Gamer gets to do the Zeri thing, where you have more movement speed than anybody, and you're able to chase down everyone left in the game. That can low, so is Build a Pony. Will he burn down? Yes, that is the first kill picked up right now.
No reset.
Jesus is taken very low. Ultravox still dealing a lot of damage to the backline. He finds Jeff God Gamer. Will he find the engage to follow up? No, Jeff God is still allowed to do damage on the backline. Can the Hacker actually find the kills there? Jeff God makes it to the backline. A triple kill is picked up for the Zeri, and now
it's also a positioning error, and Red is able to find an initial engage onto the support and start layering damage down. Ultravox getting chunked.
How are we feeling, everyone? Are we feeling like we've just had 3 consecutive banger games and we're going into what could very possibly be one of the, maybe this is a bold claim, one of the best days that I have definitely had in FWF. We've had some amazing games so far, and luckily I get to be here with my amazing co-caster, War Leader.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be back with my amazing AD carry who just carried my butt. But anyway, as we get into this draft, we have New Wave Tsunami and Pandas with hats. These are 2 teams that barely scraped by in the qualifiers to get here, and now this will be one of their first tests to see how well they can stick around in this league. Early bans, we're going to see Pandas take away Twisted Fate. It's a very prolific pick from Tiki, gonna take away Sunrise's Gwen as well. These were 2 picks that New Wave Tsunami used to great effect in qualifiers to get here. Meanwhile, more carry picks in the Viego and the Vayne being taken away from Pandas with hats to try and remove some of the outplay potential.
All right, Gimme Reset currently is sitting with no Jinx ban. I believe Reset has been extremely successful in the Jinx pick so far. Today has been extremely successful in the Jinx pick so far. We're going to walk away from that last game, obviously, but I don't think the Jinx did necessarily too badly. There it is. See Zeri and Jinx taken out of this game. We're going to see a little bit more of the ADC pools gone into. This league does not have a lot of Aphelios players at the moment, so I don't imagine we'll be seeing any of those top 3. We might see Caitlyn come out, but I think we're going to go deeper into these guys' pools, and we're going to see something that isn't just those initial immediate picks on the ADCs. I like the Gwen taken away. Sunrise and Hikamaru were flexing that one. We saw it mostly out of Sunrise. She did a very good job of just annihilating the jungle pressure in the games where she was given that Gwen. Whether or not New Wave Tsunami, do they know what they want to go with? Very last second Kha'Zix picked up for Sunrise in the first slot. Okay, so that is an aggressive option. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, we saw how effective Kha'Zix could be in the last game. Utility monster taking very creative angles, and we know that New Wave Tsunami loves to play towards a carry style of jungler. Now, I think Blue 1 Kha'Zix might be a little bit of a draft sin, but it's exactly what New Wave Tsunami wants to play towards, and they're going to show early that this is their outlet to winning the game. It's through Sunrise.
Yeah, gonna give her every possibility to be on that Kha'Zix and cause a lot of pressure with it. When you see the Lulu picked up on the other side, that is the best option.
So good.
Yeah, Aphelios is the right option here. I don't know if Voltic Penguin plays it. I would like to see it. Obviously, Lulu Aphelios. We saw it last year at Worlds, demonstrated on the biggest stage League of Legends has to offer how strong that lane is, and I don't think that it's fallen off all too hard. You still have those options. I also like pairing it with the Hecarim, though. It does give you a lot of forward momentum. You can speed that Hecarim up, get them into fights, you can get the knock-up, keep them alive easily. Is that what they do want to go with? Yes, okay, so just going to be support and jungle picked up. Normally, we would see ADCs being picked up right now, but I think these teams want to hold back on them as a lot of those really powerful carries have been taken out in bans. They're going to hold back, try and give counter pick. I like that option overall, try and build their compositions up, and maybe give bot priority. Maybe they're going to be looking to other lanes. I think that's something that we haven't seen too much. The bot lane has been very much the focus of these last few games. Hecarim, once again, though, very powerful pickup into that Kha'Zix. I think that there's room there for some early skirmishing, and the Victor for Tiki, very strong pick.
Yeah, I mean, Tiki's Victor is an absolute force. The champion is an absolute force. Victor just does absolutely insane damage starting from minute 12, essentially. And so it's a very powerful pick, and normally you don't see mid laners go this early in the draft, but with the bot lane's not coming through, I actually really like the pick. We'll see if New Wave Tsunami is ready to pull the trigger on one of those bot lane champions. I have to imagine it's going to be support that's picked up right here to counter the Lulu, and with 0 seconds to go, what will it be? It will be Xayah is the pickup for New Wave Tsunami.
Okay.
Not an ADC we've seen too much in the metagame. How do you like Caitlyn into this as being more of a meta option?
So, Xayah functions very differently now when we're looking at her in pro play. And maybe I'm just biased because of who I watch, but the person I think of when I think of Xayah on 12.2, obviously we're going back a little bit because we're looking at the LPL, but Huanfeng has been using that pick to great effect. And it's been a lethality build most of the time. The Ezreal on the other side, I don't think that pairs great with the Lulu, but that Lulu could be looking at other options. Talking back about that Xayah, has the ability to poke and meet well with that Victor, and if you want to chunk teams out and then throw a Kha'Zix at them, that can be very effective. However, have to deal with the Hecarim. At the same foot, though, Xayah is very good at self-peeling. She has that option to get everyone off of her, pause for a second, and if you do go for that lethality build, obviously Crit has been since buffed. I would be interested to see which one Reset decides to go with. I don't think we've seen this Xayah yet, even in qualifiers. There's room for that ultimate to turn into some insane team fight damage. Really interested to see what does get done with that Xayah. The other side, the Ezreal is picked up. Now, not a classical pairing with the Lulu. You expect an auto-attacking, attack speed-based ADC with the Lulu. We're going to be seeing the Ezreal instead, much more on-hit, much more ability-focused. It's not a bad laning phase. Obviously, you have a lot of poke. You can keep the Ezreal very safe, similar to a Yuumi, but what it's really lacking is where Lulu's buffs are stronger. They are more focused on auto attacks. It's not going to be able to empower him in the same way. Not that Lulu's a bad pickup here. It could service the rest of the team better, but as far as that bot lane goes, I feel like you're very likely to get outmatched by a potential Xayah or Khan in the bot lane, which is very, very powerful. So do you see the Morgana, the Dr. Mundo, and the Cassio taken away? Looks like we might see New Wave Tsunami try to ban out Hubes' picks.
Yeah, and something that's a little surprising to me is that the Rakan is being left open as an option for New Wave Tsunami. I believe I recall Ollie playing Rakan previously in FOF, so I'm not going to be surprised to see New Wave Tsunami taking that pretty much immediately out of this ban phase. And yeah, they're going to start to take away some of these carry options from Panda's mid laner because we see the composition so far. There's a lot of carry potential and a lot of carry setup with what they've drafted so far, but not that critical DPS machine. So taking away two of those options in Cassiopeia and Xerath, I think, is a really viable option. Now, something that we might have been sleeping on is that this Lulu might not be in the bot lane. This could be flexed to top lane. It could be flexed to mid lane. And I don't know about Schmeckles and Hubes and what they play, but here we go. We see a Vigar coming out as an option that's probably going to be picked up in the mid lane, but maybe could flex with that Ezreal if they wanted to get spicy with it. We're going to have to see, and if we really are going with no auto-attack based characters for that Lulu, I'm going to really want to see the Hecarim build into Manamune in this game. We saw the tier pickup last game, but Manamune never came through. The auto-attacks could be insanely strong from that Hecarim if they pick up that offensive item. Now, there might not be the room for that. We're going to have to see, as this goes on, Leona instead of Rakan going to be the option for New Wave Tsunami. I kind of respect it. It's more tanky engage. They really need a solid front line, and Rakan doesn't provide it. It only provides that engage. So Leona's going to be a lot more consistent for the side of New Wave Tsunami.
Yeah, and I think going back quickly to that Vigar pickup, I like that. That's kind of the go-to right now for dealing with scaling mid laners and shutting down linear engage. If you have a team that's just going to go quickly or dash or try and jump over walls, Vigar can shut that down very effectively. At the same time, outscales everyone in mid lane. You have to get there, which Victor may not allow you to do, but you have to get there. And on the other side, the Gangplank is picked up for Hyakkimaru. That is a very interesting pickup there. There's a lot of room for that to turn into something devastating. If it is into the Lulu, it could cause some problems, though. Lulu does have the ability to lane bully pretty hard top, whether it's going to be a smite pickup. That's kind of fallen away from people's attentions lately, though. So I think it's unlikely that we will see a smite Lulu pickup in the top lane, or even just a heavy roaming Lulu. It looks like it is going to be going to the support role, and I like the Wukong to try and bully that Gangplank away. It gives you a lot of team fight prowess. I feel like New Wave Tsunami has some potential here for the better team fights, but they need to play around topside. They need to get that Gangplank ahead, and I'm not sure Kha'Zix is going to let you do that into Wukong. I'm kind of concerned for them as this composition rolls out. On the other side, though, Pandas with Hats, very coherent, very simple team fighting composition, and really, if you don't need to make it complicated, you can just take strong picks, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I agree. And as we get into the game here, we're going to have to see how it ends up playing out. I think it's going to come down a lot to team fights. And I want to draw specific attention to this top lane. There's been a lot of talk about Dr. Schmeckles. He's probably the lowest ranked player in the league, but has turned some heads with some very nice play, especially for that moniker so far. So we're going to have to see how it pairs up into Gangplank, which is not one of these traditional bruiser tanky top laners that we're very used to seeing in these first 3 games. And moving into it, a little bit of an awkward invade spread as Ollie is up in the top river. Maybe going to push for early vision into Hecarim's jungle. Going to force out that ward a little early, and I think they're going to take that as their prize and walk back out safely to mid lane. It is very awkward, and I think there's the opportunity for Red Side to go get vision here as the vision does go down from Sunrise, going to stick that ward onto Raptors. I really would have liked to see Voltaic Penguin step up and grab counter vision onto that red buff that they know has to be undefended because they know where Give Me a Reset is. But that being said, a strange yet pretty decent opening. I think it trades pretty evenly both sides. They're going to figure out where the Hecarim's starting very fast, and if Sunrise can use that knowledge and use that to keep the Hecarim from snowballing early, it could pay dividends.
See, I've been sitting here while you've been talking, looking at all this, and I'm thinking about how these teams are going to be team fighting, how we have to deal with the team fighting. Because obviously these teams are going to be playing back and forth, but even more importantly, I can't abbreviate Think That I Can's name because I'm not saying that. I was going to just turn that into first letter for all of those, but I can't do that. Smite is being burnt. I like this aggressive potential here. Leona does have the ability to force early stuff. Lulu, kind of a strong champion at level 1 to deal with, though. I think Lulu, we didn't note on this, is a counter pick into the Leona, so it's interesting that they did decide to take Leo into it. It's just going to be a shield and the Q harass. It is going to be... Okay, hold on. Fight in the top lane. It looks like there's going to be aggression all across the map. Talked about that Xayah build a lot. The lethal tempo does indicate that it should be more of a crit-based build. I don't hate that. I haven't seen it played yet. Obviously, all those builds that I was seeing previously are on the previous patch. That build wasn't nerfed, but things might have become better for Xayah going crit. I am interested to see how this Xayah is influencing the game going later. Obviously, those feathers are still very strong with the crit chance and with the crit builds. Could be curious. I feel like that Xayah has a lot of room to be powerful this game.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really excited to see it. Xayah is personally my favorite ADC to have on my team and to watch. I think she has so many options for both herself and her team and the way to play fights. And frankly, the lethality builds weren't doing it for me, but seeing lethal tempo does give me hope that Give Me a Reset has a good read that, you know, maybe some of us haven't gotten to yet on these patch notes and how they've affected the champion. So I'm excited to see that play out, but early on we're seeing the Voltaic Penguin pick up this lead early in the bot lane, getting quite a bit of CS advantage as this wave crashes under tower. Give Me a Reset, not able to get too much of it. Meanwhile, in the top side, Gangplank does have a pretty big wave stacked up, but is also up a little bit in CS and needs to dominate the early stages of the game to start getting rolling. The mid game is where Dr. Schmickel's on that Wukong is going to be very powerful. And the mid lane should just be a pretty uneventful farm fest. Yep. Both junglers once again opted into full clear routes. The difference is that Think That I Can has, you know, taken a very long route to get around and do to Hecarim's fastest clear, and I like it a lot. They're going to meet Sunrise in the bot lane, but Ollie finds the end.
Ooh, Sunrise was seen on the ward. Do they know that Think That I Can could even be here? There's the flash out from the Lulu, and now they're back onto Ollie, taken solo and burnt down by the red buff, and now Give Me a Reset. It's going to be the next one on the target list. Voltaic Penguin does pick it up. Hubes is here for backup. There's going to be no dragon available for this. It is a very strong play to start things off for Pandas.
Yeah, I think that was actually extreme. Oh, wait! But a fight in the top lane goes towards Hyakimaru. We're going to have to watch this one again and how it starts. Dr. Schmeckel is probably going to be the aggressor.
Yeah, and there is room for Gangplank to bully in those early levels like we were seeing, but it looks like Hyakimaru is just caught without a barrel. Does get a lot of damage down. It's so close, and yeah, that's the potential that Gangplank has really early in this game. Dr. Schmeckel's just unaware and just unready to take that fight. Hyakimaru was healing through all of it. I think it's really well handled. He's had really good wave management thus far. And we'll see whether or not that Gangplank can continue to snowball. There's a cull on board up there. You need to slow that thing down.
Absolutely, and Hyakimaru can absolutely take over this game if more time and care isn't put into slowing him down. Going to take a recall here, and we're going to probably see a decent amount of gold come out. First Blood did go over to Think That I Can on that Hecarim. Gonna pick up, once again, the cooldown boots in the tier. I do think it is the optimal start for Hecarim right now. We're gonna have to see where that tier ends up going. Last time it did not get built into an item. I am a very, if you haven't gotten at this point, I am a very strong Manamune fan for that champion. I think he provides so much surprising damage, so we'll have to see how that turns out. Right now, gold lead is going to be actually quite in favor of red side, on the side of Pandas with hats off of the aggressive bot lane play, catching Ollie a little too far forward and getting Gimme a reset as well.
Yeah, it's going to go back to that kind of neutral state. We do see the dragon has come up. Obviously, there is room for these guys to try and fight over that. We do see Sunrise going towards the top side. Meanwhile, I think that I can is kind of mirroring here. They do have the better vision control, Pandas with hats. They have that vision control around the dragon. They have it in the bottom side of the blue jungle. And it's really, it's going to be influential, but there's a big wave stacked up here for reset. Might end up getting ganked, though, as here comes the Hecarim over the controller in the bush. Does Ollie know to check it? Looks like Ollie is going to walk right past them. They're going to look for reset instead. Correct target selection. The polymorph comes down, and so does the flash reset. Do you have a way out of this? There's no way, right? Surely the dive comes through. Think that I can is able to take it. The trade on the top side. Ollie unable to find the Zenith Blade there to get the return kill on Think That I Can. I think that is crucial. Even more so, Sunrise is lurking, does see that control ward. It's just going to have to walk away unsatisfied. This bot side play from Think That I Can is making a big swing. But is that your focus? Is that where you need to be looking, as Hyakkimaru is just building a lead in this top side?
So far, Ollie's positioning in these skirmishes and just in general in laning phase has been really disrespectful to the potential of where they can be as Hyakkimaru is laying on the damage. And as a result, this Hecarim is able to just get so much done in the bot lane. And Ollie now is going to look towards the mid lane for that, but Hewins is going to sniff that one out, not going to fall for that trick. And Ollie's going to have to walk back to that bot lane. But yeah, something that I want to talk about real quick is that Think That I Can has done a Hecarim sin a little bit, in that you walk into the lane and immediately E onto a target instead of running past them and pushing them back into your team. And as a result, Ollie was just a slight misplay away from securing a kill back that could have been really big. So we're going to have to see Think That I Can clean that up. The gold lead is in his pocket. We're going to need to see some clean play to keep it good.
Yeah, and it looks like Sunrise is still hovering around this bottom side. Looks like she's going to go to that dragon. I think there's room for them to take this right now with the bot priority. But you're kind of leaving Tiki open. Now, talk about New Wave Tsunami. Tiki has been a instrumental force on this victor. I think a lot of... Oh, hold on. Doesn't look like he's going to get the opportunity here, as the ultimate does come down from the Hecarim. You have no need to flash out. You're just going down. Hubes, targeted, ulti, execute. Just writes that victor into dust. And that is going to be a trade for Dragon. Tiki does have the TP available. It shouldn't hurt too bad, but that is a kill for Vygar. And, you know, we talk about these two mid laners just both being a farm fest. If either of them gets a kill, that gets both of their passive stacking very, very, very quickly. And the fact that that goes to Cubes first could have a big effect on the overall result of this laning phase. There's a big CS lead there already for the Vygar, and the scaling is stronger.
Yeah, the scaling is stronger for the Vygar, so we're going to have to see how Tiki plays this through. And really the only lead now for New Wave Tsunami is up in that top lane, but the lead is mounting. Gangplank does get extra gold on every minion that he kills with Q, and that includes the barrels, so the gold lead could be more than what we see, as we see Gangplank is going towards what I believe could be either a... what is that? Why am I blanking on the item name? Either Shade Mythic, yeah, Divine Sunder, or the Trinity Force. Both options, yep, for that Gangplank, and both can put out massive amounts of damage. We know how much damage that Gangplank can do in those late game scenarios, so even if Cubes does get rolling, Hyakkimaru in that top lane is amassing a pretty significant gold lead.
And how Think That I Can was playing in that bot lane, just looking for another gank, trying to get the Ezreal even further ahead, maybe even more importantly, putting Reset behind. Solo XP is available, there's the ultimate there. I don't think they're going to be able to kill. I think on their own, Ezreal Lulu is very low on the kill pressures. Hold on, we do have a quick trade in the top lane. Looks like Hyakkimaru just happy to take those, has that notable item advantage. Sunrise now, onto this top side. This seems very challenging right now, as we do see two rotate over from Pandas. They have to respect the fact that they do not see the Gangplank right now. Tiki might be in a bad position. Ollie over the wall. They're committing 4 to this Herald. Herald at this early in the game is very valuable. But hold on, they might see an engage onto Schmeckles. Does burn the clone to get away, and I feel like Panda's making the right decision there, knowing that they haven't committed enough. It's just going to leave that Herald for Sunrise to pick up.
Here comes the True Shot Barrage.
Nah, not a chance there. Would have been cool, though. But that is just going to be gold onto Sunrise there with the Herald. And I think, you know, the fact that you've gotten both of those objectives, sure, you might be down a little bit of gold, mainly in your bot lane at the moment. That doesn't hurt too bad. You're given the opportunity to scale quite well. I think that dropping that Herald could really even up either your mid or your bot lane, or get that GP even further ahead.
Yeah, I honestly like either solo lane here as a Herald destination. I feel like the bot lane is a little cursed right now in terms of just how far behind. Thinking I can, looking for Yakimaru, not quite going to find the angle. I think if Ghost was online, then he could have found an angle onto Yakimaru, but not going to over-pursue what's gone, not going to throw the Onslaught of Shadows that direction. And Sunrise is deep in the jungle.
Now, hold on. Think that I can has the item advantage right here, but Sunrise feeling comfortable trying to swat back at this Hecarim, just hopping back over the wall, knows that the Leona is there. Now, let's talk about how Ollie's been playing this kind of late early game, we'll call it. Ollie's been all over the map over the last, 3 or 4 minutes. Yakumaru, though, there's that Ghost you were talking about. Is the important thing that could have decided this. Schmeckles got the HP back, forced under turret, forced to take damage, and Schmeckles able to pick up their first kill of the game by a very, very smart repeat gank from Think That I Can. Hyakumaru, you knew he was there.
Yeah, that was so disrespectful from Hyakumaru to stay at that tower. You know exactly where the Hecarim is, and he didn't commit anything on that first gank, so you can't shove up like that. You had your jungler all up in his business, knowing exactly where he was, and just not paying attention to the map, not paying attention to what I'm assuming would be the calls of your teammates there. So going to be sent back to Fountain, going to pick up a Heartbound Axe. Dr. Schmeckles starts to reset the lane a little bit. Now that Hecarim's, spread the gloriousness of the early game ganks up to the top side, going to relieve a little bit of that pressure and slow down the roll of Gangplank, who does end up actually completing that Trinity Force, so the item spike is still very much in Hyakumaru's court.
Yeah, and there's the Yomu's finished, there's the Crown finished. That top side of the map right now from New Wave doesn't look too bad. They're getting those items rolling in. They have the free boots on 2 of their champions right now, which is valuable. It's both on your first strike champions, so they're going to have that extra gold generation. That's 300 gold in your pocket on top of that. So, able to finish those early items up, and obviously Hyakumaru has been having such a good time in this top lane. I feel like this game is coming down to Sunrise's early game being a little bit lackluster. Sure, you have picked the Kha'Zix. You are going to be out-jungled in the early stages by Hecarim. Hasn't been too many trade backs on camps. Haven't really looked for any engages where you can force those fights. Your bot lane is very, very good at setting up ganks. Sunrise, though, has been farming very effectively. And now that we see that first item come online and now we're seeing some invades, maybe we start to see that Kha'Zix start to do a little bit more damage as we roll into our second dragon now, and it looks like Pandas with Hats is on the ball with that.
Yeah, New Wave Tsunami goes for a pretty clever invade on the top side, but having both Tiki and Sunrise caught on the ward means they instantly concede Dragon to Pandas with Hats, and they're going to tie this Dragon score from 1-1. Kha'Zix smartly going to look for more in that jungle, knowing that you have to trade across the map here. And the question is, will Sunrise be able to find an angle onto Dr. Schmeckles? He's a slippery little monkey.
Rift
and
Herald.
Yakumaru... Oh, they do have that Rift Herald from earlier. I nearly forgot about that, so here it comes. Dr. Schmeckles going to find and engage onto Sunrise. So much damage coming out, but Sunrise is going to slip out with the Void Assault. Schmeckles passes forward. Hughes teleports in, but Sunrise might get out unless Vygar Predator catches up. Yakimaru content to stay on the top side with the flash, and the ult is going to delete the Kha'Zix, and now Gangplank finds himself out of position. What can they find? The baby cage comes down, and the Wukong is in. A clever flash from Hyakumaru is going to get himself out of the business. Overall, I want to say the gold still goes toward New Wave Tsunami off of the plate gold that they receive, but clever from Hubes to get up there and to shut down that Kha'Zix.
And even bigger, that's AP found onto the Vygar again. It's stacking the Vygar. It's something that it's very easy to ignore. You're at 124 CS right now. I promise you that there's a good chunk of that on Q's. 120 extra AP already on this Vygar. Can go for just about any build and will still be doing so much damage. Really big props to Hubes, because I've tried to play Vygar. I'm not that good at it. It's difficult to get that many stacks at this point in the game. I think that could be coming down to, I talked about how Tiki probably wants to play more passive in this laning phase. As I say that, hold on, there's an engage in the top lane. Schmeckles gets chunked out by the barrel. Hyakkimaru's still in lane with the TP up, has not decided to recall. Those TPs are unleashed now, so we might see some bigger map plays. But Hubes has just been able to free farm as well, and the lack of pressure from Tiki to get that Vigar off the wave is going to turn into a problem. That Vigar, you're never going to get to a point where your team is stronger than, where individual members, but your team can be stronger than him. You have to be very careful around those team fights, as he can just press R and delete someone. As here comes a big engage. The ulti comes down. Sunrise is still in that backline. There's the speed up, though. Oh my goodness, the damage! But Voltic Penguin still doesn't go down because Lulu is that effective of a support. Here comes the reverse engage in from Think That I Can, and the Lulu able to pick up that kill. Unfortunately, taking away from the Hecarim, but now give me a reset with the biggest E in the world. Unable to pick up the kill. Ollie sure to follow, as they might just give this one to the Vigar, as that poor stopwatch does get thrown out. Both of those moves get missed, but you cannot miss the ulti. Hubes picks up their third kill of the game. What a counter gank to put this. Pandas with hats looking great.
They're looking absolutely great right now with their macro plays, and even though Tiki's going to secure, a little bit of a disconnect here, but we see a pause.
Oh, that
I have no idea what's happening right now, but Tiki has blown Flash. The support is reconnected, so we're gonna. Okay, let's get back to what just happened. Let's clear that from our memories.
That was Hubes a pause. We just ignore that.
We just ignore that. Hubes is quickly approaching, and the point where the snowball gets too large to stop it from rolling down the hill. This Vigar is getting so massive, and a needlessly large rod in the inventory could easily be, I don't know, a Rabadon's death cap to amplify that AP even more. Hughes is sitting on so much damage, and the movement speed and the jungle support from Think That I Can is going to become nearly an unstoppable menace. Hyakkimaru does have a very solid gold lead in that top lane, but the artillery barrage hasn't been enough to sway the rest of the map, and so right now the advantage is firmly sitting with Pandas with hats and on their mid-jungle duo.
That is first tower picked up, though, for Hyakkimaru, and though that Vigar is scary, it's not like there isn't scaling options on the other side right now for New Wave. They have that Victor. They have the crit Xayah, which arguably beats a Sivir at 6 items. You know, there are some strong late game ADCs, but Xayah can do some insane damage if she gets to that late point. Victor can do so much if he can get there. And right now, Hubes is there. Hubes is ahead of everyone. Hubes has so much AP in pocket right now. Like you said, probably a Rabadon's death cap really early on, just to accelerate that passive stacking. It works well on Vigar because you have so much AP that you can amplify. Obviously, could go for something more traditional, like a Horizon Focus or a Shadow Flame second. I don't think that either of those would be awful options. But why wouldn't you? You're 3-0, you're playing an amazing game right now, have not been even close to going down. And again, a lot of this laning presence that all of these members seem to have right now on Pandas does fall back to Think That I Can, making great ganks, and Sunrise really struggling to find a way in on that first pick blue side Kha'Zix. Has not been working out so far.
I think this is a very intelligent play by New Wave Tsunami. I think they have full understanding that this dragon is not theirs to take. So they're going to commit resources up to that top side. Maybe he didn't have to lose those mid lane minions. I'm not so sure about that part. The True Shot Barrage has no shot of taking that Rift Herald. So they are going to trade objectives across the map. Very heads up play from Sunrise actually being the first one onto the objective, meaning that the Rift Herald is going to drop first. Now the aftermath should be interesting here as the bot lane rotates towards mid lane. No, they're actually going to go farm side lanes themselves, but as the supports hang out in mid lane, we'll have to see this Rift Herald. But Dr. Schmeckles looking for an engage onto Hyakkimaru, going very deep into the minion wave. I don't think you can win that. Cyclone comes down, but Hyakkimaru does so much damage. The artillery barrage is going to come out, the flash is going to come out, but Hyakkimaru should be able to follow. It's going to be on so little HP. The corrupting potion isn't in inventory anymore, but whew, it's okay. You got the kill.
Yeah,
Dr. Schmeckles been biting off a little more than he could chew.
Yeah, Hyakkimaru nearly missed out on what felt like a pretty guaranteed kill. Now, Sunrise on the double evolution, now that Kha'Zix is also going to scale very strongly. I like the draft from the perspective of it's okay, we scale. It's about whether or not they outscale right now, and obviously, pretty much everywhere on the map is going to be stronger, but you do not have a strong, dedicated tank. Obviously, Leona's there, but she's behind. She's not going to be sitting on a lot of items to deal how much damage Vygar's going to do. And as a team like New Wave Tsunami, who use that Vygar a lot in their qualifying games, they know how strong it can get. Maybe they know how to deal with it. And you have those late game options in the Gangplank, in the Kha'Zix, in the Victor, and even in the Xayah. You can win those late game 5v5s if you can get yourself there, and right now they have evened up the gold deficit. It isn't necessarily placed on all of their late game carries, but there's a lot on Hyakkimaru right now. Tiki doing a great job of keeping himself in the game. We'll see how that evolves. Obviously, we're going to have 3 minutes of downtime most likely. I don't think we're going to see any crazy Barons coming out. Sunrise continuing to farm up, continuing to make that Kha'Zix very strong. I'm interested to see where this game is going to evolve, looking at maybe Soul Point coming up right now for Pandas.
Yeah, and as we get a chance to look at these gold leads, we're seeing about 1,000 gold lead in both the mid and the bot lane. Ezreal and Vygar picking up pretty significant leads over their opponents. And in the jungle, Sunrise has done a pretty good job to even out the kill participation I think that ICANN's been involved with. And that's been up to clever farming and good invades. Now, in the top side, though, it's a very different story. 2,500 gold up for that Gangplank is insane. And Hyakkimaru is going to quickly get to the point where these Gangplank barrels one-shot. So I think we might end up seeing a battle of late-game carries between the Vygar and the Gangplank, as they're both quite accelerated right now.
Yeah, this is a game, we had a lot of action in our previous games. A lot of fights, a lot of objective pushing, all this type of stuff. The fact that New Wave grabbed that first dragon and is able to sit the extra 5 minutes down and say, okay, you guys can't grab Soul yet, probably looking to contest maybe the second, maybe the fourth or fifth dragon. It might give them some room to stall this game out. And like you say, this is a game that wants, both teams are looking to go late, but I think only New Wave Tsunami actually wants it to go there, and it's going to be on Pandas to start making those continued proactive plays, and I'm looking at Think That I Can, because if anybody's been going around the map continually making very, very strong proactive plays, it's been that Hecarim. See whether or not that can continue. The Polymorph does come through, and I think Reset might just go down immediately. The ulti does get popped, but do you have a way out? The Gale Force gets burned. There is the Flash. There is the E. And it looks like Reset's going to get out, but at the cost of a lot.
Yeah, Give Me a Reset has had quite a poor performance thus far on the Xayah, has not made it look very good, and has continuously been caught out. And yeah, we're going to have to see the Xayah pull some more weight as we get later into this game. I know Xayah isn't the most incredibly scaling champion, but you can't have an AD carry be a liability as you get farther into the game. Props to will take Penguin and Subarashi for pushing that advantage. Shirelia's into Polymorph lets you get on top of someone in an instant. Give Me a Reset was not respecting it.
Yeah. That's something we're going to run into. And the thing that we talked about is that we've seen Reset play Jinx very effectively. Haven't seen the other picks come out yet, and maybe Reset's having a little bit of stage nerves. I know that I get that, especially, is if you haven't played a pick before, you don't know. The tournament version of yourself is sometimes a little bit different to what you can pull off in solo queue, normal games, flex, scrims, whatever it is. Oh, hold on, potential for the engage, the Flash having to be burned. Don't know if that's going to have a big effect, as we do see 20 minutes rolling in on the Dragon at the moment. I want to say big shout out to Cast. Thank you for coming to watch the cast. As we do roll into this Dragon at the moment. TP being burnt. Okay, Tiki on the back end of this fight. There's no room for vision at the moment. Hyakkimaru is able to get out of the baby cage, and Ollie barely missing the Zenith Blade. Now the flash forward once again. Ollie mechanically just getting outplayed there as the Vygar walks away, but Voltic Penguin is already so low, and that big GP damage turns it around, makes it the other way. Huge barrels, there's no ultimate available, no cannon barrage for that Gangplank because of the wave clear mid, but as a one pick on Dr. Schmeckles kind of denies them some of their engage. They burnt the ulti out of Think That I Can. This might just be Dragon number 2 cleanly picked up from New Wave. They're doing stolen with the W. Hubes is continuing to bring this game on his back.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. Dark Matter does a lot of damage, and Hubes gets into a nice place. No idea that he's there. Kha'Zix does have a bigger smite, but it's not ready for it. And the Dragon gets chunked just enough for Vygar to take it, and that's so big. What was a critical error in how that fight went for Pandas with Hats gets a bit saved by the mid laner from their team. And despite the pursuing team of New Wave Tsunami, they're not going to find anything, or at least so I think. They should just be able to walk up to that top side. Yakimaru taking a very aggressive angle, going to keep forward. It's 1 versus 4. You have to be a little careful here.
But look at this zoning off the mid turret right now, making sure that they can pick that up. I think it's a very intelligent play from Yakimaru, denying those resets. The reason that they cannot go for that fight, oh, are we not going to continue? I like it. Go to Baron. Very intelligent play. They are going to get seen on the ward. Do they have the ultimate cooldown still? I think is what you have to be looking at. They basically do. It's just the Chaos Storm that's down. They're sweeping in. They might be baiting in Pandas with hats, although red buff is the contention point right now as Sunrise is caught a little bit out of position. I like this play on paper, but you need to make it a little bit faster than that. You need to be a little bit more decisive. Kill the turret, go to Baron. It needs to be like that. Hyakumaru did a really good job of making those resets wait. And making the reason why they can't take that fight mid is they do not have the health bars, and not letting them recall gives you more time on that potential there. I think Hyakumaru did a really good job of continuing that. It wasn't the immediate decision making. I like the Baron call out. I really like the Whippo build on the gang.
Yes.
I just saw that.
I love that actually so much. Infinity Edge is a terrifying item for Gangplank. And, well, I mean, that's normally the thing with Infinity Edge these days is that it's difficult to turn on, but 3 Cloaks of Agility will get that job done, and Gangplank is going to deal damage. There is a very high crit chance on this Gangplank now, and if you get crit on a barrel, it'll quickly take 80% of your health bar. Those landing in the right places can easily turn a fight with a lot of just general spread of damage. The Artillery Barrage, the Chaos Storm, both able to soften up teams, especially when that barrel goes down. So much damage, and they're going to turn onto the Baron now.
Okay, so you have the power here. Now we do see Hyakumaru in the bot side matching TP right now, but the Cannon Barrage is there the fastest. So we'll see whether or not that matters. It's currently a 4v4. Think that Icon is very powerful right now. Hubes popping the Predator. They do see that over their heads. They know that that Vigor could be coming. And now it looks like it's just going to be to clear off of the wave. But right now, you're drawing the team up and allowing Hyakumaru to do whatever they want on that bot side. They're going to be able to take Romp. They're going to be able to take waves. You're buying time for that Gangplank to get even stronger. And if that's going to be your win condition, great play to give him room to free farm. Can you hold this mid turret in return? I don't feel like this fight has gone too far from midnight right now. These two teams are very, very close.
Extremely close. And man, the Baron call's a little strange, right? But they pull off of it in time so that there's nothing really spent from either side. That's too bad. And Hyakumaru gets more time in this lane. As long as Hyakumaru is in the side lane, more gold is funneling into the big carry here. Now, Vygar is there to match the scaling power, but Vygar doesn't get that time in the side lane, getting a solo experience. Vygar's being sent back and forth between a mid lane, but with Ezreal, and towards the objectives, warding off the team of New Wave Tsunami. They're playing completely to their Gangplank right now as Dr. Schmeckles is getting caught under tower. So much damage comes out. Cyclone comes out for
this is
not
greedy.
much return, so we're going to have to see. The rotation is coming in from Pandas with hats and Hyakumaru. Maybe a little bit overstayed here, but Hyakumaru does so much damage.
Play on the Baron.
Walk away. They get to turn to the Baron now as Hyakumaru drew so much attention. Hubes puts down the baby cage onto the Baron, but it's not going to slow very much. Dr. Schmeckles needs to get back to the base, recharge, get that Unleashed teleport ready, but no, sticking around with Hyakumaru, and they're going to barely back him off the Baron. Hyakumaru getting so much done in the bot lane.
There was so much potential there for Hyakumaru to pick up the solo kill and then be able to TP for the 4v5 at the Baron. They had to deny that. They sent people. Great reaction to go for that Baron immediately, force people up again. Again, if Dr. Schmeckles went down, that's a problem. And now there's no one here to protect Hyakumaru. There's the TP available for Tiki. I think you have to look for that right now. You have to keep this Gangplank alive. He cannot be down right now. His soul point is available, and Hyakumaru has no way to escape and will go down to the Hecarim. It is up to the 4 remaining members of New Wave Tsunami to keep this game winnable. I feel like it's going to be so hard for this team. Really doesn't have too much shred at the moment. There is obviously the Cyrilda's finished on the Xayah, but has been struggling to deal any damage this game. Cyrilda's being finished is good, but it's going to be so hard to break through the shielding and the extra tank stats that the Soul can give. This is very crucial for New Wave to play around it correctly. Only 4 people available, though, is if they can stall 20 seconds for Hyakumaru, then all is regained, all is possible, but the engage onto the dragon is delayed, but it's in now.
Oh!
Who caught in the baby cage? New Wave Tsunami gets deleted by Hubes, who barely survives on the back line. Looks like he's going to draw that focus onto taking the dragon. Reset, unable to find the kills that you need. Dragon is smited. It is going to be so challenging for the 2 remaining carries here to be able to get anything done. Hyakumaru has respawned. Will there be any room for the chase? The low health bars. Pandas with hats doing an amazing job at throwing people in as they hit low health bars, bringing them back out again. And it's such a crucial team skill to have, is knowing who can be at the front, who can be at the back, and constantly making those switches. And well played by Pandas with hats to not only grab the dragon, grab a pick, but not lose anyone.
Yeah, very clean play by Pandas with hats there. New Wave Tsunami was really feeling the pressure, and I really feel like Tiki needed to burn that teleport, try and save Hyakumaru. I don't think there was any chance, really, of a steal on that soul, so by not expending that, you're just giving over what could be an extremely critical objective. So now our eyes have to turn towards the Baron Pit. As the gold is even, Dragons, though, could tip that into the favor of Pandas quite easily.
Well over 70% crit right now on this Gangplank. There's very good odds that these barrels could be devastating, and look where Hyakumaru is. Don't think they know that he's there. He's starting to roam in. Schmeckles on the other side of the map. There's the cannon barrage looking for the pick on the Lulu. Doesn't come through, but they do find Hubes. That is massive. They find that pick, and now they can rotate to Baron. It's going to be on Pandas to try and force some sort of pressure to get them off. No, they don't have the health bars. They don't have the vision. They don't feel comfortable. They have to answer. That's a big pick onto Hubes regardless, as they do lose the tower in the bot side. It depends on what you can make this pressure. New Wave Tsunami still yet to play their hand as Dr. Schmeckles continues to pressure on this bot side. I feel like if you're New Wave, you can drop that inhib turret, or drop the inner turret, not the inhib turret, but you can drop that tower if you get the Baron. The smite hasn't been there from Sunrise so far. Losing out the barrel onto Lulu. Goodbye. No popping ulti. There's the TP in from Schmeckles. 2,000 HP left on the Baron. Here comes the Hecarim. It's so low. Potential for a smite. It goes to Sunrise. And now New Wave Tsunami have their chance to turn. Think I Can goes down. There's going to be a follow-up onto Schmeckles. That Gangplank hurts so bad. There's no ultimate support available. Flashing out there is Hyakumaru with that empowered recall will be able to make it home. Will they be able to recover everyone out? The TP was burned from Hubes as well to try and get under this turret. Sunrise and Tiki are caught out right now. The TP is still available for Hyakumaru if they need to burn it. But it looks like everyone is going to get out safe except Ollie. And they keep 4 of those Baron buffs, and the gold swings back to New Wave.
Ooh, Iron Will on Sunrise. Securing that Baron is going to be so important. It breathes life into New Wave Tsunami as they've been stalling out for a little while now. And Sunrise with a big smite. Hyakumaru with the massive damage is going to keep New Wave Tsunami into this one. Escape, we are getting another banger of a game.
It's been such a great day. Welcome to FOF, everyone. If there's anybody new tuning in, these games, obviously, we don't have world-class talent, but we have a world-class attitude. These teams are still giving it everything, as though all the pride is on the line, all the contract extensions, anything else that you might say. These teams are giving it everything, and I love seeing that. And we're seeing, again, even what is considered to be the bottom of the I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but the bottom of the expectations, bottom of the seeding from these two teams, rated roughly around 7th and 8th respectively. Obviously, there's a bit of argument there for a couple other teams to be near the lower ends of the spectrum. These two teams are still playing their hearts out and having a very evenly matched game. At the moment, it is on the backs of Hyakumaru and Hubes to try and keep their teams in order and try and find these big openings right now. Level 17 on that Gangplank has to be scary.
Absolutely. Gangplank is so big. Immortal Reminder comes through, and it's going to make Dr. Schmeckles completely unable to play 1v1s. It's now Hubes to be the one matching him in the solo lane, and that's going to make the 4v4 much stronger for New Wave Tsunami than it has been before.
Oh, Reset, where are you? Flash available. I think you have to burn it here. Can't get out of the baby cage and just goes down. That was such a disrespectful rotate over from Reset. You talk about the 4v4. Well, now you're dealing with Schmeckles on the top lane. You've just lost a Baron buff. You've just lost your best tower taker. Now it starts to cause problems. They're going to reset and just take jungle camps, take away some gold, but you lose a lot of the pressure that you had there just from too much disrespect from Reset once again.
That was really weird. I almost feel like the camera had to be in a different position here. And I was talking earlier about how late game reset mistakes could be costly, and that one is. But Maru is a little caught out here. Ollie, you might have to cancel that recall. You got to get your friend out, and the recall is canceled. Will Hyakimaru be safe? No, Think That I Can is on top, and Ollie is walking away. Hyakimaru getting out so much damage, but Think That I Can is so tanky, and it doesn't matter. That's going to be not a physical shutdown, but essentially a shutdown, preventing the pressure from the side of New Wave Tsunami, and critically, Gangplank's not going to be up for Elder Dragon, so a combination of mistakes from New Wave Tsunami puts Pandas with Hats back into the driver's seat for this next objective. I don't know how they can contest this.
Well, they've only got 2 seconds after 2 seconds after the dragon comes up for Gangplank to spawn. If this is not immediately started and finished by Pandas with Hats, there can be a cannon barrage on top of them. There will be a TP in from Hyakimaru. It starts to be problematic, obviously, if you have to deal with the 4v5. If you're here early, it can be very risky. I think getting rid of Vision's a good call, but you gotta have your GP there, and you have to have Hyakimaru in the right place. There's no room for setup. Sunrise doesn't see the enemy team and goes in. You were talking about this being uncontestable. Well, there goes your smite. And now Pandas with Hats has to be looking towards this dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, New Wave should walk away. I mean, maybe you give a cannon barrage. Yep, there it is. But it's so early. There's no way you take that. And Pandas with Hats are going to do the right thing, drag it out, wait it out. And yeah, Elder Dragon's going to go over pretty handily. I think that New Wave Tsunami is starting to get sloppy under the pressure. And speaking of it, Hyakimaru, I don't know if you can do that. Teleporting deep behind enemy lines and Think That I Can is already on top of Hyakimaru, but it's a 1v1, and Hyakimaru is so strong that even with the Elder Drake, Hyakimaru and Think That I Can are going to separate. Knowing how close that's going to end up, I think maybe a little too respectful from Think That I Can. And Dr. Schmeckles might find Gangplank, but I'm not even sure that Wukong wins this. But Elder Drake Execute happens so early. Hyakimaru is currently walking out with so much speed. Grasp is going to heal a lot, but there's the Execute. And Schmeckles, after an absolute pounding of a game, is finally going to find a solo kill of revenge against Hyakimaru. And without that big scaling threat, I don't know how New Wave Tsunami are going to put up a defense against the massive buff that Pandas with Hats have right now as they march down mid lane.
How cathartic that must have felt for Dr. Schmeckles to be able to find that solo kill after, like you say, it's been such a challenging game. 36 minutes of just having to deal with that GP. Hyakimaru has done such a good job putting themselves in the driver's seat when it comes to that specific matchup. But finally, the Elder Dragon is enough to swing the tables. And you know what? This pressure's going to keep up. I don't know if they're going to actually crack the base, but Baron's coming up very soon. 20 seconds on that. I don't think Pandas have turned their sights on it, as we do see the red pings now going towards it. And again, there's no Gangplank, but this time there's no teleport.
Yeah, and with the Gangplank just now coming up, it's going to certainly be Pandas with Hats, the first ones to arrive at the pit. Hecarim has taken a reset, but is very, very quick to the objective as it gets started up by the side of Pandas. They're sticking around a little, but they haven't cleared the ward in Pixel from blue side, so they know exactly what's going on, and now they definitely have an understanding that the Baron is under siege. Dr. Schmeckles not out of base yet, but Sunrise, you can't take these wolves right now. You've got an objective to go to. You got something to fight for. New Wave Tsunami needs to get in there if they have any hope, and no, too slow, too late. They have the entire team there, but just aren't ready to execute. You got to add that one to your playbook.
Yeah, like, you have to be looking at that and thinking New Wave Tsunami does not feel like they can contest this, and they do feel like they can hold. I don't think that that's necessarily 100% untrue. I think there's a world where, because of how much wave play you have on these very powerful late game carries in Gangplank, in Victor, in Xayah, you can push these waves away, but you need to start by getting them away right now. And sitting in that top jungle is something we talk about end over end in FOF. Teams do it too much. They sit in the jungle, wait for an objective to be taken. They go to Dragon, they hang out over the wall, it gets taken, you walk away. I'm not going to pretend like RLS has never done that or anybody in the league hasn't ever done that, but it's a consistent problem. And right there, if you don't feel like you can contest the Baron, contest the waves that they need to push, get them away from your base, give yourself more time. And right now that Baron has only barely started ticking, and they're already on the inhib turrets. The top tower goes down, that's to be expected, but what else can Panda start to take here?
I think they can take whatever they set their team upon, and we saw a bit of a mental misstep from the side of New Wave Tsunami has put them in a pretty rough position, and now suddenly the side lane has completely turned. We saw Hyakumaru bashing Schmeckel's face in for so much of this game, and now it's the other way around as the Wukong has the advantage in the side lane. Mid lane inhibitor tower is going to drop 2 cannons on the top side, firing away on that turret. Dr. Schmeckles is putting out so much damage now onto Hyakumaru, who has to walk back to base. Inhibitor's gonna fall. Top lane inhib tower's gonna fall. I mean, it's all Pandas with hats right now. It's about whatever they want to take, and they might just take the game.
I think the draft here was phenomenal from New Wave, but they have yet to use it. Here comes the engage onto Ollie. Not getting popped immediately by the Vanguard, but the rest of the team does not share the same fortune right now. Tiki running very low on mana as the Nexus turrets start to take fire. I think Pandas, very intelligently, playing this as slowly as they can. They have to wait for those super minions to show up. Don't need to get pressure in any other lanes. Just keep gradually poking down these turrets. You know that the win will come to you at this rate, and it's on New Wave to try and find an engage. This Xayah needs to do what Xayah does at this point in the game. It's 40 minutes. Xayah still yet to do anything big and just get deleted by Hubes, who must be sitting on an insurmountable amount of ability power right now. And also, yeah, there's also the anathemas there. Good luck killing them. If you're any sort of damage threat right now, Hyakumaru must be getting completely nerfed on the damage there. There's the unstoppable onslaught onto the backline. Ollie's taken low. Sunrise popping the Zonias. Goodbye, Gangplank. And there is few left standing for New Wave Tsunami as Pandas with hats, the undisputed 8th seed, takes the game in day 1.
What an absolute showing from Pandas with hats, showing cohesive teamwork on all fronts. Every single member of that team had their time to shine, and the cohesion is ultimately what took a back and forth game and delivered it into their welcoming arms as they get to start out FOF with a 1-0 record that only half the teams get to have, and they have to be so excited right now.
That is, yeah, I think that it's not unfair to say that a lot of today's games went to seed. UB TDE, it was kind of close, right? It was a very, very close game, and not to mention also close in the seeding. Those two teams have been very evenly matched. Obviously, we weren't sure about UB's new roster. This one, I feel like most people were expecting New Wave to take it. And you look at the final result, it looked like Pandas with hats had the advantage for most, if not all, of the game. They dropped the ball a little bit in the midsection when Hyakumaru really was hitting those very powerful item spikes, but it fell apart. And this is a team brand new to FOF, showing what they can do. I don't think any of these names have been here before. Am I wrong?
For Pandas with hats, no, they're all fresh, except Hubes. Hubes is a Season 2 veteran who put together a team of his good friends and is now here to see what they can do, and apparently what they can do is quite a bit as they take game number 1. Real quick, I do want to say, New Wave Tsunami, that was a pretty good performance. I think there's a couple obvious moments you can go look at, some plays to write in the playbook, some draft errors to go work on, but there's a lot on the foundation there. Don't get discouraged just yet. I know this loss has to hurt, but it's going to be okay. You guys have so much potential, and you guys can get it fixed. With that being said, that is going to wrap up our games today for FOF, but I know I'm so eager to hear from Pandas with hats and how they think about their first win in their first game of their first FOF season. We'll be right back.
Hello, folks. Chris Edgeworth here with our final interview tonight, and I'm joined by Heebs? Weebs?
You.
Hubes. All right. Cringe. All right, man. You got me. Hubes, welcome. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
How are you feeling after this first win for your team, and how are you feeling about this team entering the league and your trajectory in it?
We're feeling good after that win. When we were talking before this game, we heard that we were expected to be 8th seed or the worst team in the league. So I'm glad that we came out with kind of a strong showing. But yeah, we're hoping to keep that kind of going. We were thinking we kind of have a new jungler that we've switched in relatively recently, so we were gonna be okay with bad responses or early results, and just trying to improve more towards the end and be more of a end of split kind of threat. But things starting out strong early is definitely a plus.
Now, coming into this first game, what were your thoughts on the draft that you folks put together? I especially like seeing interesting takes on rune choices and things. And you were on the Predator Viger. What were your thoughts on the draft that you folks ended up with and what you were up against?
Yeah, so actually our jungler got on super early and started thinking about a lot of drafts. So we had like a couple ideas coming in. Specifically, it was like playing around the Jinx. We were had kind of two branches where whether or not Jinx was going to be banned. And so we ended up doing the Predator Vagar, which was kind of the response to more of an immobile mid pick. So it was coupled with the Hecarim, so we could allow for a scaling lane, but still have a lot of threat with Predator running up and burning flashes, basically guaranteed. And a decent follow-up with Hecarim and Shirelias from Lulu. So that was kind of our main plan going in. Since Vagar's going to have burst anyways, we didn't really need the electrocute. But yeah.
Now, what after that game, which had its tense points for sure, but it was I felt like a decisive showing on your part. What are your thoughts on the goals for Pandas with Hats coming into the season?
Mainly, I think we just are trying to try to keep playing together and increasing our synergy because we kind of have a new jungler. But honestly, it's already been going really well. Our jungler's been really on it with early shot calling and tracking enemy jungler and telling which sides of the map to play safe and which can be aggressive and where he's at and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really cool. One of the things that we noticed in that game that we're definitely going to try to focus on is we're good at taking these neutral objectives and farming out and going towards late game, but we want to be more proactive towards less obvious objectives like turret taking and dives and stuff like that, which I think is probably the next step to leveling up our team.
All right. Well, Hubes, thank you so much for joining us for this interview, and congratulations on your win on this first day of Friend or Foe. Before we step away, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us on the desk?
No, not really. It was just it was definitely a fun game to play. I was mainly just catching mid-wave bot. I didn't do anything until late game, so this was a really fun game to be able to play a scaler and have my team really come online and keep us from falling behind and pushing ahead even. So it was definitely a fun game to play and a good debut, I think, for our team.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's going to be it for us on this first day of Friend or Foe. We will be back with day 2 of Heroic tomorrow at the same time at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. So please look forward to seeing you then, and we'll join us tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you then. Have a good night.